Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to queue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome one and all. I am super excited that you've joined me on this magical today. And today is an extra specially magical day for me because I have the opportunity to have gotten out of the 115 Fahrenheit degree weather in Phoenix, Arizona, and I am in the Pacific Northwest. The weather here is amazing and beautiful, and I am by the coast and by the Redwoods. And so today I thought it would be fun to talk about Sasquatch because this is Sasquatch land here in the Pacific Northwest, and I myself have had a past life as a Sasquatch, and I find Sasquatch to be really interesting, don't you? This is one of these mythical creatures in our existence that we have so many questions about, that there's such mystery about, like fairies and gnomes and the Loch Ness Monster. Sasquatch has been sighted throughout the entire world, I think. There have been Sasquatch sightings. And of course there have, because in my perception of where the Sasquatch live or where the Sasquatch come from, it's actually not necessarily in this dimension, but it's very close to this dimension. And so when they do come into this dimension, there are sightings and we see them, just like fairies or gnomes. And especially if we believe that these things exist, then we will have more of the ability to see them. One of the things that I recognize as I'm walking through this beautiful land is the nature and how it behaves. When we look to nature, we can learn a whole lot about how we ourselves can behave. And when I was walking through the redwood forest today, I was noticing these trees that join together as they grow and they become one tree. They start off as smaller trees, or maybe it's one tree that has a couple offshoots, but as it grows, it just all joins together and becomes one. And all of the trees function in this forest and in all the forests in this way where they're all working together. What's also beautiful to see is the trees that have been struck by lightning that are no longer alive, but are sustaining other life. So much life is living and growing because of this tree that is decaying. And this cycle of life is so apparent in the forest. What I also notice is the communication, the union, the ability and the desire to help one another. Trees will always help the other tree. There is this mutual symbiotic relationship with all of the inhabitants of the forest. It's very apparent as you walk through. You can feel it. You can feel the union, the oneness, knowing these beings, they know that helping another helps everyone, helps the whole, and that we have to live this way in communion, in unity with one another. And this is the way the Sasquatch lived. Sasquatch, way before we were, well, I don't even know how long it was ago, but this was ancient times on this planet when Sasquatch did roam this land in the physical dimension here. And back then, the forest looked a whole lot different. The way I saw it in my past life regression, the trees were very much more spread apart. Now there are so many trees throughout the forest, and it's more trees than you can see bare land. Well, the way I saw it, there was a lot of bare land, and those trees were kind of interspersed. And we built our homes in the tops of the trees. We all lived together. We worked together, just as all indigenous tribes do. And we had everything we needed because the earth provides, the land provides, nature always provides everything that we need. And when I say everything, not just food, water, and air, the things that we need to survive, but nature is also showing us how to behave, how our existence actually works, how we can survive here more happily and peacefully if we just look to nature, if we listen to the wind, listen to the trees, listen to the birds. They're always talking to us, responding to us, telling us about the day. Today, on our walk through the trees, Brian stopped and played the flute in a humongous old redwood that had been struck by lightning and was hollowed out, but still living, and played the flute in this tree, and it sounded so beautiful. And he's playing in appreciation for the forest, for the trees, and the way the wind blew, and the way it blew through the leaves. We could hear the appreciation of the forest. You can feel the energy of these trees. When we show appreciation to them, they feel it, and you can feel that they feel it. I cried a few times walking through this forest today, hugging the trees, touching the trees. At one point, I just wanted to snuggle up to this one because, they're kind of fuzzy and soft. Their bark is really, really, really beautiful. And they're just the most welcoming, ancient, wise beings. When you think about it, some of these trees have been here thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And these big, big, big fatties, these are the ones that I see that were probably existing when I was a Sasquatch thousands of years ago, or however long ago it was. Regardless, imagine how much these trees have seen, how much these beings have witnessed, how much wisdom they carry. I've done a lot of sessions where people are trees and they talk about the communication and how they know when a human is approaching. They know when an animal is approaching. They know if there is any danger that may be present. They know it all. They communicate all together. And just imagine over the thousands and thousands of years that this tree has existed, what it has seen, what it has witnessed and learned. That is fascinating to me. So when I was a Sasquatch, these trees spread few and far between, were not as big. They were not as big around, but they were as tall, just thinner. And our houses that we built were very, very high up in them, and they were very easy for us to build. It was something that came very naturally to us. And what I remember very distinctly about this past life is that we all, while we loved each other and cared for one another in a community, it was more of a group mentality than it was an individual mentality. Meaning, even my wife and child weren't so overly concerned about me. I would come home after not seeing them for a whole day or however long it was, and neither one of them really seemed to care very much that I was home. And it wasn't because they didn't love me or I didn't love them. It just, we didn't get overexcited. We just kind of lived in this peaceful, almost non reactive balance and harmony with nature. And when I say non-reactive, what happened in my own session next is I saw us working. I saw us working in mines, digging for gold for these other beings who weren't necessarily controlling us, but it did feel like slave labor. But we did it willingly. We were willingly mining this gold for them. And when I saw the Stargate SG-1 series, and I forget what the names of these beings are. If you've ever seen this series, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they're a Sasquatch-like being on a certain planet that has a mineral, and there was a system who was trying to dig this mineral, and these beings were very upset because they were not doing it in a respectful way, and they were harming the land. And so these beings then said, well, if this is what you want, we can provide this for you, but let us do it so that we can do it in a respectful way and that you're not harming our land and that you're not taking too much. And so I feel like that's what we did as the Sasquatch. We were doing it willingly because we wanted it done correctly and we didn't want any harm to come to the land because we lived in unity with it. And these other beings were from somewhere else. They didn't necessarily respect the land as we did and live in unity with it. And one day, we decided we didn't want to work for them anymore. And so we didn't. And they got upset. And so they burned our homes down. And we didn't care. We didn't care about that either. We just did not react to it. And we moved along. And we just figured out what to do next, which was find another place, build more houses, and continue on along our way. And this is such a wonderful lesson. This is something I think that we've gotten away from in our lives now, the ability to be non-reactive. And we're all trying to learn, just like the Buddha taught us, to meditate and to try to move towards this direction. But we've gotten a lot more stressed out than we used to be when we were living in accordance with nature, when we were living with the land in respect and harmony with the land. And the more we come back to this behavior, this perspective, this attitude, the happier and the more non-reactive we will all be. And these are the things that we can learn from nature. Just like that tree that the lightning struck and hollowed out, that tree kept on, keeping on, growing big and tall and strong. Yes, scarred, but that scar, that's beautiful. That scar shows the strength of that tree, the perseverance, the resilience. It's so beautiful to see nature show us this is how you roll. Yeah, I got hit. Yeah, it scarred me, but look at me. I'm still tall. I'm still beautiful. And this little scar over here, it makes me more beautiful. Nature can show us in so many ways how we all as a society can better ourselves by living in unison, together in unity with one another and with the land, just like the Sasquatch does, and just like all of the indigenous tribes do. They know that this is the way, the beauty way. So, in the Sasquatch life that I'm talking about, that I witnessed of my own past life, another thing that was interesting about it is when it comes to the time for the life to be over, we didn't feel a fear of death. It was a transition. And before we transitioned, we would pass on our knowledge to our children or whoever was there to accept that knowledge and gracefully make the choice and close our eyes and move on. I saw myself, it was a scene like if you ever seen the movie Lucy, where the gorilla, I think it was, or the chimpanzee, I'm not sure exactly which it was, but he walks into the lake and just lays down and dies. And that's almost exactly the way I saw myself do it in my past life. Just walked into the lake and laid down, and that was it. Because we had nothing to fear. We knew better. We knew it was just a transition and that we were going back to the all and that we would be back. And the reason why we knew this as Sasquatch is because as Sasquatch, I saw another aspect being a shapeshifter, meaning this Sasquatch can go into a cave. The cave I saw specifically had crystals in it, and in these crystals in the wall, the Sasquatch can communicate with these crystals, giving information and also receiving information by just putting his hand. I was a man in that life, a male Sasquatch, and put his hand up onto the crystal, and that's the way that the information was given or received. And this cave to act as a portal, meaning I could wormhole off to another dimension, another place, by the intention, by the thought. When I would go into this cave, wherever I wanted to go, I would think it, and instantaneously I would be there. And that's a whole nother story that we're not going to get into, and I'm sure I've gotten into it before in the past. Yet, the point is, it's the thought, the intention. This is how things work. This is how we create. If we want to do something, we think it, we know it, we believe it, and it is. And this is how the Sasquatch worked. This is how all of our extraterrestrial friends work. This is how the universe works. We forget here that it is that simple. We forget, but we are remembering. Each and every day, more and more remembrance is happening, that we create with thought. Anything that we want to do, we keep our thought in that direction, our energy, our focus in that direction, and that is what we will create. And nature will always show us the way. So always look to nature, pay attention to her, be grateful for her, and love her like she loves you. And I think that that's it for me today, everyone. I'm going to leave you with this song by Nako called Alice. Until next time, I love you all.
Alice, Alice, I'm well aware there are some strange things where you live, and I won't go there. Down which hallway and through which door? What's this wonderland here for? Turn my card, Queen of Hearts says you will go there. Busy, busy, busy bees. These humans are such mysteries, floating around, never knowing what they want. So go forth with your morning dear, with the sun arms on your back and the love that you left behind. First of all, it was the year of the boar, and he greeted you with horns on your passenger door, in the middle of traffic on the morning of our full moon. Fleeing into the coffee fields, I'm dragging guilt tied to my heels. My friend is coming, and he means to reckon with me. Fever his hands, blackened by fire, favor our tempers and boyish desires. There's a reason that you came to me lucidly in my sleep. Caught in the flow, I just did what I do. I work with my karma and overtime too. There's a reason that you came to me lucidly in my sleep. I am no coward, you're superhuman, tapped into power. Oh, the load is heavy. Will you be ready when the giants come? I will be there. You'll get yours, came out of my mouth. To the man who bound my hands, I began to scream and I began to shout. Sir, I know I've done many terrible things, and I'm concerned to find me in my dreams. Such bad behavior, I am not the same. I made all my rage disguised as a man. An angel appeared with a briefcase in hand. Didn't speak when he reached, he just held me like you hold someone you love. Cradled, I wept right out of my slumber, writing it down, this is what I remember. There's a reason that you came to me lucidly in my sleep. I am no coward, you're superhuman, tapped into power. Oh, the load is heavy. Will you be ready when the giants come? I will be there. I will be there. I will be there. I will be there when the giants come. When the giants come. I will be there. I will be there when the giants come. When the giants come. I will be there. I will be there when the giants come. When the giants come. I will be there. I will be there when the giants come. When the giants come. I will be there. I will be there when the giants come. When the giants come. I will be there. I will be there when the giants come. Alice in Wonderland. There are some strange things where you live, and I have been.